Hey everybody, I'm going to take a few minutes today to demo with you the Affinity app and the Pixel workspace inside of it. If Photoshop isn't an option, Affinity is a free application from Canva that can do practically the same thing. So here we go. You can get Affinity at affinity.studio with your web browser. You click on one of the download links, get Affinity or download for free. And once you have it installed on your computer, you can click to open it up. When you open the Affinity application, you'll see this welcome screen. And it gives us a variety of choices, places to start with presets, document sizes. Then they have a bunch of these tutorials down here. But for us today, I'm just going to click X out of this window to show you the workspace itself, the desktop. Across the top, we have the application menu, where we have a variety of choices. Right here in this second layer, we have what Affinity calls studios. Each of these is for a different application or different use. So Vector Studio is for making vector graphics. It's equivalent to Adobe Illustrator. The Layout Studio is for book publishing, sort of equivalent to Adobe's InDesign program. And for us, the relevant one is the Pixel Studio. This is the raster workspace inside of the Affinity application. And if you recall, raster applications deal with dots, colored dots, where vector is that mathematical sizes that can be bigger or smaller, where raster is a fixed size of a dot on a page. So we'll start out in the Pixel Studio. You just click on that if it's not already selected, and we'll create a new document. So I'll click File and then New. Right here, we see what the keyboard shortcut is for a new file, Command-N on a Macintosh computer or Control-N on a Windows computer. And here it gives us a variety of places to start, but we want to come over here on the right-hand side and make our own document. Right here under Document Units, I'll choose Pixels, DPI. This is dots per inch. How many raster dots per inch are going to be in this image? 300. That's a good high quality print right there. Page width is going to be 1600 pixels. The height will be 1200 pixels. This icon right here means that the two dimensions, the width and the height, 1600 and 1200, will stay the same proportionally to each other. So now, if, for example, I was to change this to 2000 or 200, you'll see the height also change. So there we go, 1600 by 1200. All of these are fine, and I'll go ahead and click Create Document. Now we have a new document in Affinity. So again, we're still in the Pixel Studio. This here is the tool options. These options depend, as the name might suggest to you, on the tool you have selected from the toolbar here on the left-hand side. And if you hover over any of these tools, they'll tell you what they do. We're going to use some of these today in just a minute. Down here toward the bottom, we have the colors, the foreground color and the background color. The default ones are black and white background, black foreground. You can swap them with the X key on your keyboard or by clicking this doodad down here. Then we have the document window and the document itself. This is what we're working on, is this white rectangle here in the middle. That's 1600 pixels wide by 1200 pixels high. You can see we haven't named it yet, and we're seeing it at 140% of its size. Over here on the right, these panels are where we'll make more decisions about what we're doing with our document. This is our layer stack, and in Affinity, it doesn't, like in Photoshop, you'll have a background layer. But in Affinity, it doesn't call out that background layer immediately. We'll get into layers later on. So the first thing I want to do is bring another image in to work on. And in Affinity, I'll choose File and Place. Here on my desktop, I have this image. Just I double click it, and I get this icon here. And so what I will do, it says drag to place, click to place at default size. Some other options. I'll go ahead and just click here, and it dropped that image right on in to my document. I'm going to zoom out now so we can see more of the image. That's right here, the magnifying glass. And if I click now with the plus in there, it'll zoom in. I don't want to do that. I'll hold down the Option key. See the minus, it zooms out. Now I'll click on the Move tool again, which is this black arrow. And when I click on that, you can see this blue outline around the image that I dropped in here, because the image I dropped in is bigger than the document we created in the first step. So I can click on any of these corners and drag this in to where I want it to be. And then I can drag it here, and just like that, I have it fitting within the borders of my document. I'll actually take it with my Move tool still highlighted, and I'll make it a little bigger just to make sure I don't have any weird edges in here. Okay. Now I clicked off of that image, and this is what we're working with now. You can see over here on the right-hand side in the layer stack, I now have the name of that image that I dropped in here. The eyeball makes it visible or not, and we can go ahead and name the layer, Picnic Table. You want to get in the habit of naming your layers because you'll get lost later on. Now we'll just kind of look around the tools here, right? We saw the Move tool. This here is the Crop tool, which we'll get into in the next tutorial. But this is a way to reframe your image, right? If I wanted to make it a square crop, see how the tool options changed up here? Custom ratio 1:1, which is a square. I can press enter, and then I have a different crop. You can always undo your steps, Command Z or Control Z on a Windows computer. This will be your friend. Undo and redo is Shift Shift Control Z, Shift Command Z. That's the crop tool, object selection tool. So Affinity, raster applications in general, like Photoshop, really are based on non-destructive editing, meaning that you're not really getting rid of anything in an image. You're stacking layers on top of layers to create your final product. And the real power tools in these raster applications like Affinity and Photoshop are layers, selections, and masks. And the selection tools in all of them just continue to get better and better. Here on the left in Affinity's toolbar is the object selection tool, which will pick out different objects in an image. Some of these features with Affinity are paid features. Most everything that you really need to do in Affinity at this level is available with the free version of the application. Rectangular marquee tool, so this will let you draw rectangular selections. And if you see this little caret down here at the bottom, the little angle, you can click and hold on it and it'll show you the other options underneath that tool. Photoshop works the same way. There's a circle, selection, elliptical, and it also opens this menu here that allows you to make different kinds of selections. This is the freehand selection tool, equivalent to like the lasso selector in Photoshop. You can just draw around things. Fill tool, paintbrush tool, we'll use that a lot. Eraser tool. Like I said, with the non-destructive nature of these raster applications, you almost will never use the erase brush ever again because you can do your work non-destructively. I don't think I've used the erase tool in, years. Adjustments we'll get into, clone tool, filter brush, in-painting pen, etc. on down. Then, like I said, we have the picnic table over here, the layer that we just made that I named picnic table, and these tools. So let's say we wanted to add something to this image, right? We've done this, we've added a picture to it as our base. So let's, first I'll make it bigger so I can see what I'm doing. I'll press Command 0 to make it fill the desktop space. And in Affinity, I'm going to click on Adjustments and Levels. First, I want to make this picture look good. And what we can do in the Levels menu is change where the black level in the image. See how it got a lot richer. What we're looking at here is what's called the histogram. It's black on this side and white on this side. And what we can see is that there is no black, right? There is no real black color in the image. So I'll drag that up just to meet the end of where the histogram starts to go up. And I can do kind of the same with the white level. I don't want to do that too much because, right, we have these spikes over here that are the sun and the sky. So I'll back that off a little bit just to make it a little brighter. Looks good. I'll close that. And now you see, right, that adjustment happened in a new layer. So I can turn that off and on, and I can see what I did. Now I'll add a new blank layer. It's called a pixel layer in Affinity. And I'll double click it and call it painting. I can click on the brush tool. It says brush, right? There are other options, but we'll use brush. I'll change the color to something by double clicking on this color tile here and make a red color, close it. We can see our different options up here. This is opacity, how dark I want it to be, brush load, hardness of the brush. So hardness gives us this soft color. Ooh, that's something. Or if I have 100% hardness, I get a hard edge. Well, what's going on with these crazy colors? I'm going to press Command Z again to undo, or edit where it says undo. Click on more here, and what's happening, right? We have these brush options I just talked about, and here under dynamics, it looks like I have hue jitter set to 30%. That means that it was changing the colors. I'm going to go ahead and just dial this down to 0 and saturation jitter down to 0. Nothing's jittering. We have various options for the brushes here. Y'all don't need to get into that, but feel free to explore. Close. Now when I brush, it's going to stay the same color. But that's 100% hardness versus 0% hardness. But oh no, I've painted red all over my picture. I haven't, because it's on its own layer. I can just turn that off. Turn it off, turn them on. So I'm going to try something else. I'm going to choose edit, select all, and delete that painting. Now it's gone. I decided I wanted to try something in. I'll double click on this color and let's try blue, purple. You can change the brush size up here with the slider, but it's hard for me to picture what that size actually is. So I prefer to use the little dot indicator. Let me zoom in. You can press Command plus or Control plus on a Macintosh or Windows computers to zoom in on your picture, and see I'm on the painting layer that I made. And I'm just gonna trace over this picnic table. And now I have this picnic table traced, and look, I can turn off these layers and have my little picture of a picnic table. Just make sure you're on the layer that you think is active, right? In this case, it's blue. I can see which layer I'm working on. I'm gonna press Command minus to zoom out a little bit. Let's add a text layer. T for text, artistic text. I'll click on that, and I can say, I clicked in the document and it dropped this box in that I could then type in with my keyboard. Up here in the tool options, we have all of our font options. Just choose one I like. Brush script, that's fine. Then I can have whatever other options, the size, italic, bold, text style type stuff. And with the move tool, I can click here on this text layer. See, we created a new layer. And this guy here, this dot, right, if we grab these, we make it bigger and smaller. Oops. We make it bigger and smaller. This one lets us rotate it. So I'll just come on and stick this here. There we go. You can add effects to layers by clicking the effects button over here. Let's see what bevel emboss does with this. Cool, right? And then we have different options, outline, etc. Other options. Close. And so with that, we've created a new document in Affinity. We've added an image to it. We've used an adjustment layer to change the blacks and the whites, the levels. We've created a layer to paint on named painting, and we've added text. So we've completed the tutorial. We've got a little introduction to how things are laid out within the Affinity application, the Pixel Studio workspace. Now we can save this file and turn it in. So I'll choose File, Export, PDF, Export. I'll name it Parker Tutorial 1 and save it. And now I've got that document we were just working on, parker-tutorial1.pdf on my desktop. I can open up Blackboard and submit it, and then we're done. So I hope that helps you all feel maybe a little more comfortable using the Affinity application. It's a totally legitimate option. Thanks for your attention, and I'll see you soon.